Good morning from Snake Mountain Boat Works on Thursday, December 29. We're back with the 59 Sportsman, 17 foot, and I've had several requests to shoot a video that will take you through what we do when we pull fasteners out of the bottom planking. The bottom planking typically is bunged, and that's a misnomer. It's bunged with some sort of caulk or some sort of filler material, and as a result, just using an awl by itself leaves a mess. So I thought I'd first walk you through our tools, and then RJ is going to demonstrate a couple of screws. For this purpose, because of the filler, we use a Rotabroach. It's typically used for cutting holes in sheet metal, but it works fantastically for this application. The cutters come in 5/16, 3/8, and 7/16 sizes. And it's at that point that we see something really interesting by comparison. This is the original screw that we're pulling out. This is what was, as far as we can tell, a number 8 in the 50s. This is a modern screw, a modern silicon bronze number 8 by 1 3/4 Frearson head wood screw. The thing to notice is that the head of the original screw is much smaller than the screw we will put in. So what that tells us is that all of these countersinks are 5/16, not 3/8. So because we're going to come back with a larger headed screw, we need to open all of these to 3/8, and as a result have used the 3/8 inch cutter to remove the filler. Why not use the 5/16? Two reasons. One, you end up with holes too small. We'll have to drill them all out again. And number two, the smaller 5/16 cutter actually lands on the screw head, and because it is made for cutting metal, it tends to destroy the head and make it impossible to draw the screws out. So our tools of choice, a couple of awls. This one's more aggressive. This is what we tend to use, something like this, to clean out the slots in the screw heads.
And air.
Pardon?
And air.
That's right. We use let's do it this way. We use a drill to sink a pilot hole in each bung. The reason for that is you see that the Rotabroach centers using this pin, and this pin will go in and out. What we've discovered is that without the hole, you can still center the cutter, but this pin gets pushed in and buried and then walks across the surface. So we drill a pilot hole for every single one. Then finally we use an impact gun very carefully. As RJ says, he's the guy with the magic hands and special touch on these, and we'll test him in a minute. And then we end up with a great big cup. We've got cups and cups and cups of these guys. Why not reuse them? These are almost 60 years old. And you see how many of them are green.
What came out of the bottom of this boat?
This is what came out of the bottom. We've released all of the planks, and RJ's going to do his demonstration using the chine board.
Drop the bit right in the center of the bung hole. Drill in till you feel it hit something hard. Drop your little pin into that center hole. Right there, you feel something hard. Do that. And she's ready to release.
So there's one removed. Do a second one, RJ, just to prove to us you're not just being lucky. The pilot drill also, in addition to centering the Rotabroach cutter, tends to break up this filler material. And I have to say that not all of them clean out as completely the first time as is the case here. Oftentimes we have to use the little pick to clean out the slots in the Frearson head.
And when you use a regular awl, you can do it. People did it for years, but a lot of times right here, if you're not really careful, you'll actually kind of round the edge and you'll make the hole a lot nastier than it needs to be. Luckily on this boat, the fillet is not like a really hard epoxy as to where some boats that have recent repairs. Trying to get that fillet out with this pick is really hard.
Yeah, this stuff is just a chalky material. It just disintegrated.
And that's the other problem you encounter with just using the pick. You break out wood and you can tell the holes that I left with the Rotabroach versus that one. Those are going to be a lot easier to fill and sand down.
And this chip is not as big an issue here because this is below the water line, the chine is, and we can fill it with the same premium filler that we will fill the holes. But if we go up to the bow,
from this line down, this is all varnished, or at least from this line down, it's all varnished. So these, you have to be very careful not to.
I wasn't here when you guys pulled were those wooden pegs, bungs?
Yep.
Yeah. So these were wood bungs, and probably my guess is all of these were wood. And here you absolutely want to use the Rotabroach so that you maintain a very crisp edge as you go on. So
another thing is, once with the wooden bungs, they're a little different sometimes depending on the what the bung is, the shape of the bung, and whatever. A lot of times we can pop an awl right in the middle. You do that, and then your hole is pretty clean.
but you do want to be sure that in this case, the one RJ chose has no varnish around it. You can see the rest of these top sides. If we attempted those, and several people asked, how do you tell that water got behind the varnish? See all these blemishes? That's water infiltration.
Not the varnish isn't gone, but you can tell that it's seeped up in.
Right. And if you tried to, we're not going to do it, if you tried to release those bungs, you really risk breaking out the edges of the hole because the varnish hangs on. So before we attempt to work on the sides, and I really don't see much refastening that's needed, we'll strip that to bare wood. So
one thing we will do is leave the varnish on there till we're done with our bottom. That way anything, if CPS or 5200 or anything drops on the side of our boat, It doesn't soak right into the wood. It'll stay on the varnish and can be wiped off.
That's right. And if you do get CPES on bare wood that hasn't been stained, let's just say you're not going to have a pleasant time, because that CPES penetrates immediately, which makes it impossible for the stain to penetrate. So this is where we are on the 59 17-foot Chris Craft Sportsman. We will now, in the next couple of hours, remove all of these planks, and you can see that we've marked every single one of them so that there's no issue as to where they go. They are in exceptionally good shape, exceptionally good shape. There'll be no issue about reusing all of them, saving all of that wood. So when we're finished, this old boat will still be old. Thank you so much from Snake Mountain Boat Works. Goodbye for now.